This is certainly no ordinary Audi RS5. It's Audi's attempt to turn one of its great cars into a very special one. Now they've introduced the RS5 Competition, which looks like an RS5, but is faster, lighter, and is jumping into the ring to take on the likes of the BMW M3 and the muscular C63 AMG. And today I'm going to see if they've done enough. So this is the RS5 Competition, and it's the two-door model. As you can see, you can get in four-door with a Sportback, but this one is lighter and it's the one I prefer. Now, for those of you that want to show off that you have a Competition, you can't, because there are no competition badges anywhere on the car. The only clues are these carbon fiber door mirror caps, these black exhaust tips, and a lot less money in your bank account. We'll get into pricing in a minute. So what exactly is the Competition, and what have they done to the standard RS5? So first off, you get these Pirelli P Zero Corsas, the kind of tire that Ferrari uses. Very aggressive, sticky summer tire. They're 275/30s on these really nice 20-inch rims, which are 4.4 pounds lighter on each of the corners. US cars get standard ceramic rotors and brakes, and the ABS has been reprogrammed for more performance. More weight has been shed. Audi's removed more than 17 pounds of sound deadening, primarily from the firewall between the engine and the driver, for a total weight saving of 35 pounds. Also, the standard car suspension has been lowered by 0.4 of an inch, and if you wish, you can lower it by another 0.4 of an inch using a tool that's in the trunk. Haven't been there yet. It also has what's called accessory mode for the exhaust system, which is basically a way to annoy your neighbors. You can put it in dynamic mode and you can do a cold start with the car and it makes obnoxious noises out the back. It's not massively loud, but it sounds fun. Adaptive anti-roll bars are now standard and the rear bar is much stiffer. For me, the best change, apart from these tires of course, is the steering ratio has been changed to 13:1. It's now fixed instead of dynamic in the regular RS5. And then finally, the rear differential has been modified. So before we look under the hood, the transmission has been reprogrammed. So in dynamic mode, the shifts are quicker. Comfort mode remains the same. So if you're expecting more power under the hood, you're going to be disappointed because things are pretty much the same as far as horsepower is concerned. I kind of wish that they'd given us more power. BMW does with their Competition, Mercedes does with their S models, but it doesn't. So it's a 2.9 litre 6 with 444 horsepower, 442 foot-pounds of torque driven through an 8-speed automatic transmission. So exactly the same as the standard RS. It is quicker though because it's lighter. Audi says it'll do 0 to 60 in around 3.4 seconds, which is a couple of tenths quicker than the standard RS5. Up front you get the familiar Audi grille. Everything's been blacked out and you obviously get a little RS badge right there and LED lights either side. At the back it's pretty similar to the standard RS5. Again, there's black tailpipes that I showed you earlier and these black Audi rings and a tiny little spoiler that doesn't shout at you. So in the back you get a decent amount of space, about 12 cubic feet or so. What you don't get is the practicality of the hatch, which you get in the Sportback version. It's a 4-door, a couple of nets to carry stuff, and then there's a small spare wheel in here. And then this is this kit that you use if you want to lower the suspension by another 0.4 of an inch. So how much is all this sporty goodness? Well, the base price is $77,900, but the Competition package and all that stuff is $16,000 more. Add in the driver assistance package, which this car has, but I wouldn't take, is another $3,000. Also, the navigation is $1,500. Add in destination, and this car is $100,750. So I'm not going to clamber into the back and test the rear seat, even though I know I'll fit, because nobody that buys this car is going to have any back seat passengers. And if they've got any sense, they're not going to have anybody in the passenger seat either. Anyway, in here it's really nice, beautifully made, as all Audis are. It has a stupid sunroof, which is annoying. Alcantara steering wheel, Alcantara on the base seats, leather, etc. everywhere, 8-way power, lumbar support, etc. As ever, It's beautifully designed. Inside you get Audi's standard touchscreen. It's pretty quick. It's got haptic feedback, clickety click. I kind of like that. Below that you've got your physical AC controls. I do like the fact that when you touch them, the additional functions light up. And then below that you've got traction control off and your park assist. Turn off the screen, and then drive select, the most important piece. So click on drive select and you've got auto, dynamic, or comfort. And on the right hand side you've got RS1. Everything I have in there is set up for sport, and RS2, which is a slightly more aggressive version of RS1. You can also activate the RS modes by clicking this button here. Click it, the whole dash changes. It says RS1 or RS2. Click between them, click again, it goes back into whatever you had it set up for on the main screen. Top quality materials in here. You've got some power up front, little space for things, and then 2 cup holders. Nice little shifter, little RS badge right here, parking brake, and then your physical volume button. That is something that Audi puts in all cars. I have no idea what kind of use it has. If anyone could tell me, that would be great. Wireless charger in the center console, and I haven't done a test to see whether it charges through my case. And this is Audi's typical crank armrest. Audi's digital display still is one of the best on the market. I'm not going to go into all those details because you know what we need to do now? Take it for a drive. All right, let's go. All right, so off we go. All right, let's switch it on. Dash changes, it's very angry. So the suspension is quite firm in this mode. Not the best for some of these San Diego roads, but I drove a regular RS5 3 years ago. It had Bridgestones on, they were soft in the sidewalls, and it wasn't a whole lot of fun. It was saved by Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system, but it wasn't like this. You can already feel how much better these tires are. Turn-in is sharper, especially when we get them a little warmed up. So with these suspension changes and the steering changes, the attitude of this Audi has changed. It really is a lot more sporty. Do I think it needs more power? Maybe it doesn't, because it's just sublime right now. All right, let's take it on to some slightly more twisty stuff here. Okay, hard on the gas. Oh. A little bit of a bouncy ride, but generally very well behaved. And these tires are gripping into oblivion. One thing that I did notice is that the steering wheel isn't it isn't cut off at the bottom like most of the S and RS models. So, but if I had anything to complain about, the steering wheel, maybe it's a little too big, but that's really about all I can complain about. Engine sounds really good too. So the exhaust improvements, there's 2 little sort of gates, flaps in the exhaust that you can see from behind, and they open and close depending on how fast, how much revs you're giving it, what mode you're in. In comfort mode, those flaps close and it just doesn't make as much noise. So when you're in RS mode, you are definitely going to use a lot of gas because it hangs on to the revs and keeps you in that sweet spot for the turbo. But then, once the road opens up, I'm going to hold my neck up here. I can well believe this is a 3.5 second car to 60, but taking these, so amazing. So Audis have always typically understeered. BMW and AMG Mercedes are typically rear-wheel drive cars that have been made into all-wheel drive cars, and they're more biased to the rear. Audi has had the Quattro for so long that they sort of forgot. How do we make it rear biased? Well, I think they've managed it with this car because it's not understeering at all. All right, we're going to join a road now. It's going to be a little bit of a quicker road. It's got better pavement, less harsh bends. All right, mash that throttle. It's very interesting that the S6 that I drove a few weeks ago has exactly the same engine as this. Same power, but I feel like this one's got more power. It feels much, much quicker. The suspension isn't too hard, so no need for a quick visit to a chiropractor after a quick drive. Yeah, what they've done to the steering has made this car. It's so good. We are just plowing into some of these corners at quite high speeds. Brakes are really good too. Doesn't require much push to get them to stop, which they should be good because they're carbon ceramic. All right, quick overtaking maneuver. So while it doesn't feel as out and out quick as something like an RS7, it doesn't really need to be, because you can keep it under super insane speeds and still have a shit ton of fun. And it's got the confidence with these tires to not have to back down before you go into a tight bend. It just goes around. In fact, I can accelerate out in the middle of the bend and it just goes. Feeling a little bit of turbo lag every now and then, which is pretty standard. But this thing is flying, and it's so composed you don't really realize that you're doing the speeds that you're doing, which is always dangerous. I mean, getting from point A to point B in this thing, it's fast. It's fast. I guess the question is it $16,000 worth of money out of your bank account to pay for this? Gosh, I think it is. I mean, my memories of the RS5 that I drove a few years ago, I did not have anywhere near this level of fun. What do we think? Well, having driven it, there's something actually really special about this car, and in my opinion, I think it's worth the additional $16,000. Yes, the BMW M3 is dynamically more capable, it's also quicker, but this is a lot more fun at closer to legal speeds. And you know what? I even like the color. Once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.